All right. Sorry about that. A couple minutes late, guys. Just was testing the audio and was having an issue with some of the sound. So we'll get you all pulled up and make sure we are good to go. Thanks for bearing with me. Okay. Looks like you guys are coming in fine. Get that all set up so I can answer questions. So today's I went live's a little bit different. It's more of like a webinar. Some of you guys have taken the Sweeper University classes. It's something on those lines. I was going to do this as a free webinar for members, and it's just becoming more and more and more prevalent that there's so many scams out there. There's more than I've ever seen in the last few years, and I think most would agree. And I don't know if it's because of the whole pandemic and people being cooped up inside and they're online more and there's a chance for scammers to make more money. But hopefully this will give you a few little things to take a look at, think about. You know, if you have one of those friends who's always posting those fake giveaways, you know, tag them in this. Hopefully they'll watch it, they'll learn a few things. I am getting emails, multiple emails every single day asking me if things are real. And unfortunately, 95% of them are not. So I feel bad being a dream killer and telling these people that unfortunately it's not real, it's not legit, and trying to educate them as to why. But hopefully this will give you some tips and tricks. So let me get this all pulled up. We're going to do this. We're going to do this as a PowerPoint. And if you ask questions, I have my questions up here. I'll try and check them out and take a look at them during, but I'm really going to focus on just presenting the material first, and then I'll be glad to answer questions at the end. So if you ask a question during it, I may not see it. Like I said, I'll try and get to some of them, but I more want to get you this information out to you. Okay. So again, today is more about scams, fake win notices in general. So here's some basic tips just to think about. Typically, when you get one of these notifications from a company, the English often is not very good. It's very broken. Some of it doesn't always make sense. You typically don't have that from promotional companies, fulfillment companies. The page or person contacting you is not blue verified. Blue verified is the same on Instagram, it's the same on Facebook, and it's the same on Twitter. I will go over that a little bit if you're not familiar with that, if you've never seen that. It doesn't answer it 100%, and I'll show you why. But if it's a major company, if it's Coke, if it's Pepsi, you know, if it's McDonald's, they're blue verified, meaning their pages have been confirmed that this is the actual page. If it sounds too good to be true, it often is. You hear that oftentimes from people. It's too good to be true, probably is. The examples of these are the first 1,000 people get a 4-day trip to Disney, you know, and it's always the photo that's got like all the little bags and they're going to give them out. Or, you know, I remember when iPads first came out and they would have stacks and stacks of iPads, and they were saying that, you know, they had so many, they were giving a 500 or 1,000 away. Especially if you belong to a sweepstakes site or multiple sweepstakes site. If somebody's giving away 1,000 iPads, that's probably going to be on those sites. You know, those type of giveaways don't go unnoticed too often if they're legitimate. If you're required to pay a processing fee, or even shipping and handling, it's often not legitimate. Now, I know often some people will reach out to you and they'll say, well, hey, purchase this on Amazon, leave me a review and we'll refund your money. You really need to be careful with those, because all that is that's a third party saying that you won. And really, they need the reviews. They need the reviews to boost their Amazon score. If Amazon finds out that you did that, they can actually remove your account. So you really want to be careful. I don't recommend those where they have you pay the shipping and handling on those. But in general, if it's a legitimate sweepstakes, you're not paying shipping and handling, you're not paying processing fees. You shouldn't have to ever provide them with your credit card information or wire them money. Now, I know some of this may seem like common sense, but these things come up all the time. And every now and then, somebody gets scammed on them. Do not ever give out your passwords to any account. No legitimate company will ever need that information. It just doesn't happen. Some of the very common ones that you see a lot of times, Disney Cruise Line, vacations. You know, you always see like Montego Bay vacations and have all this lavish photos. And they say, you know, the person wasn't old enough, they didn't claim in time, so we have to re-give it away. And if you actually looked at their page, they never gave it away in the first place, and they're not even a legitimate page. Chime, Cash App. Now, Chime and Cash App are legitimate companies that do a lot of promotions, but there's a lot of people that imitate those two in particular. Ellen, same thing. Ellen really does give away a lot of stuff. She has a lot of legitimate sweepstakes. So people use her and they splice the footage to make it sound like this is a legitimate post from a fake Ellen page, not a real Ellen page. I've seen these pop up recently, like, you know, first so many to comment, get $500. You have to say here, or, you know, wear a mask or anything. I've seen all these crazy ones lately, you know, and I'm amazed at how many people unfortunately fall for them. The whatever anniversary of a company. This is very, very common. So this is actually a very recent one. And they actually did it for Little Caesars and Papa John's, they being the people who are trying to scam you. This is the fake Little Caesars page. And I highlighted a few things. Notice that this page was created yesterday. Do you really think Little Caesars just found out social media exists? This is how many people follow or like their page. Some may say, wow, 12,000, that's a lot. When you see the real page, you're going to realize that's nothing. This little circle is where they would be blue certified. They would have a blue check mark if they have been verified. Now, that's not 100% tell-all, because a lot of small companies and businesses don't have a blue check mark. Example, iWin does not have a blue check mark. We are not big enough to be certified by Facebook. We used to be big enough to get a gray check mark. A gray check mark used to basically say, hey, we've checked these people out. They're a legitimate business. They're registered. And so they gave us a gray check mark. That went away maybe 6 months ago or so. So I really wish they still had the gray, but they don't. Nor does Twitter, nor does Instagram. They just have blue. So this one doesn't have the blue, but, you know, looks like Little Caesars. And what are they doing? Everyone, every single person who shares this post is going to get 3 large pizza free. 3 large pizza free. We will inbox your coupon, Little Caesars Inc. This one, the English isn't horrible, but you can even start to read it. This is the actual Little Caesars page. So you can see they do have the blue check mark. You can see that almost 4.5 million people like this Little Caesars page. They created this page back in 2009. Big difference. They also have a website. They have a phone number. These guys typically don't have that stuff. So fake, non-fake. But they look somewhat similar. So that's what you need to be careful of. This was one same thing, just happened. Papa John's, what do you know? Everyone gets 3 large pizzas. It's their 61st anniversary. The one thing too to mention, neither of these companies have been around for 61 years. You also see these like with grocery stores. Like I've seen the Aldi is celebrating their 100th year. I've seen Home Depot is celebrating whatever anniversary. You learn that they're not real. Papa John's USA, again, there's no blue check mark. Another common one right now are these like, tag, and share sweepstakes. Now, there's an awful lot of legitimate or halfway legitimate like, tag, and share sweepstakes. So just some things you need to know and some things you need to be aware of if you're one of those people who enjoy doing these. Scams are very common with these type of sweepstakes. They exist mostly on Instagram and Facebook. You know, we've all seen them, you know, tag a friend and you both can win. Tag a friend and you know, you can win a cooler. Tag 3 friends. You can tag unlimited friends. If you're going to enter these, just be aware of a few things. Most of these sweeps do not follow Facebook guidelines. Facebook does not allow you to like a page, share a post, or tag people to gain extra entries. You have to be very careful with the wording if you're going to do one of those. For example, you've probably seen some of the ones we do and some of the wording that I use in particular. You can enter these. I'm not telling you not to enter these. But just remember, they're usually not vetted by Facebook. If they ask you to share, you have to share publicly or the sponsor cannot see the share. Okay, so if you're going to do this, unfortunately, you got to share it publicly. Somebody sent me a screenshot that a sweeper had said, oh, just share it to me or share it to yourself, and then you're fine. Unfortunately, that's not true because the sponsor can't see it. So if the sponsor actually looks and checks, you're not going to get credit for your entry. Be careful who you get that information, because the interesting thing was the person who sent me that information said, this person does this all the time and gives fake information out to better her chances. So be aware of that. A lot of us have Facebook friends that we've never met in person. Maybe we've never even spoke to in person. Especially sweepstakes people like to do that amongst themselves. Just be aware of that information. When you're doing these, what happens, you start now getting business page friend requests. Business pages don't send friend requests. They actually can't. So for example, on iWin, I can't send you a friend request. You can choose to come and like the page, but I can't friend request you. This is recent. I actually have 2 of them today. I have Nostalgia and I have Palmetto Moon or something. They both sent me friend requests. They're 100% not legit. Same thing, you get them on Instagram the same way. They can't send you friend requests. The pages often look very similar. They'll take a sweepstakes off of the real Arctic Shield page. Now, Arctic Shield really has a real page. I believe it's Arctic Space Shield. If I remember right, it's even verified. Let's see. I did not post both of these. Yes, it has the same logo and it's Arctic Space Shield. That's a real company. Unfortunately, they're not verified. And their real page looks very, very similar to this page. And they do a giveaway. So, but the one difference is the real page, you could follow them or you could like them, but they can't send friend requests because it's a real business page. Here's two examples of Terra. Terra is a snack company. Again, they are not verified. Okay, so they don't have the blue check mark, but this is their real page. They are legitimate. They have a website. They have a phone number. They have 82,000 people following them. You have to look at all these things. Just because something has a lot of people following them or a lot of your friends following them doesn't mean they're legit. So, and I hear that a lot. Well, so-and-so followed them or so-and-so posted it, and they're a very good sweeper, so therefore it must be legitimate. I've seen some good sweepers get burned, unfortunately. I mean, I've even had to do double takes at certain things just to make sure. So it does happen. But here's the fake page. Notice it looks almost identical. It's Terra-Chips. It's the only difference, okay? But then you look and you see that they don't have a website, they don't have a phone number, they don't have 82,000 people following them. If I looked at this one, it had been created recently compared to a long time ago. So think about these things as you do it. Let's talk a little bit about Chime and Cash App. So it's becoming very common. Chime and Cash Apps both have given away a bunch of money, basically sweepstakes prizes, but in the form of cash in the accounts this year. Those are legitimate sweeps. They do them all the time. But what people are doing are they're creating fake accounts using the hashtags, and they're sending people messages like they won, saying congratulations. These are two of them that were exactly the same, set up by two different accounts. Looks like it's coming from Chime. If you notice, it has a name, but these people didn't get very creative. I've seen ones that will say C period, H period, I period, M period, E period. They'll do something so it looks even more like it's coming from Chime. And they'll send this out to people saying that they're congratulations, they've won however much money. Some of the common wording with these two in particular, they will almost always ask you for your email address. And then after that, they'll ask you for your account password. Why do they want that information? As soon as they have that information, they can go into your Cash App account or your Chime account, and they can transfer all that money that is in there out. What they don't realize is a lot of sweepers don't even have money in there, because what did we do? We created accounts in the hopes that if we won, we had to have an account so they could deposit the money. But if you have a balance, they'll clean it out. If you don't, they'll tell you you need to have a balance because the funds that you won can't be deposited. That's what they were doing with this recent one that they were saying people won $2,000. So they were saying, you know what, just go deposit like $250 in the account. Once it's in the account, we'll be able to verify it and we'll deposit the $2,000. And some people actually got to that point. That's what's scary. Chime and Cash App are both blue verified. So if you don't see the blue check mark, it's not legit. So make sure whoever's communicating that you won, that you actually click on that. So like when either of these accounts sends you a message, you can click on their account and look at it and go, well, wait a second, this isn't the Chime account. This is somebody pretending to be the Chime account. It's very, very common. On those back to the like, share, tag ones, the other thing I want to cover is we've seen a lot lately where they'll say, visit or check out my profile, you won. Or the person that won was underage and could not claim the prize or didn't respond in time. So what's happening? Here's two that, this was a legitimate giveaway by Everglades Seasonings recently. And these two people shared the post like it was asked, and they had to share it publicly. Remember, the sponsor can't see it. And then a fake Everglades Seasonings was coming in. And you'll notice there's two different ones. One made it look like it was pretty identical, and one made it just spelled wrong and said, you win, visit my profile. Congratulations, you win, visit my profile to claim your prize. If it says this, 99% of the time it's fake. And what happens when you go to the page? It will have something like this. Congratulations for all the lucky ones today. We will randomly choose people to receive gifts. don't you remember this was the prize you entered for? So what are they talking about gifts? And then they had you register and download stuff and all this other stuff. Another very common thing, people aren't going to ask you to download things. The real Everglade Seasonings actually did a post on their page showing this and explaining this and saying, hey, this isn't us. I had some people post and say, oh, that's not a legitimate sweepstakes. The real Everglade Seasonings really did try and do this, and they tried to give away these prizes. But unfortunately, people pretending to be them. Now, if you notice, like these even had different photos. So this is two different ones attacking the exact same sweepstakes. Again, this is a like, share, and tag one. Because these posts need to be public in order to win, they can find them very, very easily. And it's real easily because if you go to the page and they share and you click on that, if it's shared correctly, publicly, they'll be able to see everyone who shared it publicly and then go to their pages and highlight it. If you share it to your friends or your sweepstakes group or specific people or just me, it's not going to show up and share for an outside person, just in the same way it's not with a sponsor. So what are normal win notices? So I actually went back to my Twitter and my Instagram messages just to pull you a couple so you could see what normal looks like and what they ask for. So here was one from Wyndham Rewards, and it was a t-shirt, Wyndham's package. So they want my Wyndham's Rewards number, my mailing address, my t-shirt size. I just had to message them with it. That's normal. That's normal information that you would give, that you would fill out on any sweepstakes entry form. So it's not uncommon. Also, they have the blue check mark. So I know that this is coming from Wyndham Rewards. Heinz Ketchup, same thing. And so here, I had to go here and I had to claim my prize. It's pretty common. You click on that, you allow access for them to check your Instagram or your Twitter handle to see if they've inputted it as a winner. If so, it's going to come back, congratulate you, tell you what you won. Now here's one that wasn't verified. Well, I know that the Real Federal Alliance page was not verified, but they were giving away $50 Lowe's gift cards. We had tons and tons of winners. This was a sweepstakes I highlighted in I Win. It went on for 4 weeks. All they're asking me for is my email address. So I give them my email address. A couple days later, I got my Lowe's gift card from them. So I knew I had entered this. I knew I could click on this and look at it and make sure that, no, this is the correct page. But they're not asking me to give them money. They're not asking for passwords. They're not asking me to download anything. Dixie, how many of you guys won something from Dixie recently? And you all got a notice just like this. We didn't know what we won when we got it. You had a PIN number and you had a website that you went to. You clicked on it and then it told you what you won. So again, Dixie is verified. KFC verified. Same thing. Here, they're not asking for your password. They gave me what the password was to access on this link to claim my prize. Everyone had unique passwords that got you in to give that information. And again, once I'm in there, I'm giving normal information. Addresses, phone numbers, emails, things like that. If you don't want to give that information, you're probably not entering sweepstakes because you're giving that information out every single day, numerous times a day, most likely. Now, granted, when you win bigger prizes, you're going to have additional paperwork to fill out. You're going to have to provide them with a social security number. Some things you're going to have to get notarized. That's not uncommon. Here's one more recent one I wanted to show you. So this was on Twitter, and I actually had a bunch of people ask me about this one. Real Creative created a Twitter account to notify the winners. Well, most people weren't following Real Creative, but Real Creative is a real sweepstakes fulfillment company. So it came in as a message request because they weren't following them. Now, granted, if you don't have your Twitter settings correct, they couldn't even message you anyways. So this goes back to having your Twitter settings correct. So they messaged them, and this was pretty basic. It said you were chosen as a winner. It's a $100 gift card. Told you what sweep. It says, same thing. They just need the basic information. I had an awful lot of people ask if this was real, if this was legit. Now, again, fortunately, I knew the contest. I knew it was run by Real Creative. I know that Alex actually does work for them. So everything kind of checked out. Plus, they're just asking for basic information. So these people were able to accept this and then accept and get their prizes. So there are exceptions that you need to be aware of, but if you do your homework and your due diligence, you're not going to get confused on the ones that are 100% fake. There may be some that trip you up and you're not sure. So how do you do that? How do you avoid getting suckered in on some of this? Enter vetted sweeps from a legitimate sweepstakes site. Obviously, I'm biased. I win contests. But if you enter off free sites or you enter off sites that don't vet their sweeps and just print everything and anything, you run the risk of this. Just because one of your friends likes them does not mean it's legit. Get your information from a person you trust. Just like I said, there's one lady out there who's feeding people fake information to try and better her chances of winning. There are people like that out there, unfortunately. So know who you're talking to, know that the information you're getting is correct. Or is this just someone that you think knows what they're doing? Do your homework. Look at the different things on the pages yourself. See if they add up. See if they have a website. See if they have a reason to have a page. See if they're a real business page and not just someone who created a friend account, but made it look like a business page. Check when the page started. If the page is brand new or recently, it's probably not legit. Does the page have a website? Does the wording make sense? Some of the wording is so far off and bad, it's so obvious that you're just like, there's no way. If you get these notices, think about, did they run a sweepstakes? Are there really rules? If there's not rules, or you can't ask for rules and get a copy of the rules pretty easily, probably wasn't legit. Is the prize that they're saying you won actually one of the prizes that were even offered? That Chime one's a good example. They were telling people they won $2,000. Chime wasn't giving away $2,000 recently. So that was kind of a huge red flag right away. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't remember what they entered for or what the prize was. Normally, the message will say potential winner. Not always. In that one I just showed you from Real Creative, it said you were a winner. But normally, a lot of times they say a potential winner, especially from the major companies, because they need to make sure that you followed the rules that they had put forth, that you're of age, that you're of the certain states, that you don't work for any of the companies involved with the sweepstakes, and then they will say that you're a confirmed winner. So that's very common. And if all else fails, ask. Ask someone you trust. If you belong to a club, ask them. If you're a member of I Win, you can shoot me a message. There are things that will trip people up. There are things even I do a double take on. I had one a couple months back, and the way it came across was really, really strange to this person. And I agreed with them. So we looked through, we looked who was running it. We ended up finding the real sweeps. We ended up, we're able to verify that the person emailing them really did work for this company. And we were able to piece by piece verify everything. And I think it was either a $5,000 or $10,000 prize, which again, when the prize ends up being higher, you start to look at it a little bit more. But your initial gut reaction for a lot of people is excited because you won something. So sometimes you look past all the little red flags because you're so excited that you may have won a few $1,000s. I get that. And then I do have some people on the exact opposite who really do win big, nice prizes, but think they're total scams and this would never happen to them. So There is a happy medium, but you're better off erring on the side of caution than thinking everything's legitimate. So I will let me shut this off and go back to just me. So now you're stuck with me. I have the questions here. I'll go through, I'll answer some questions. This will remain up. So if you have a friend, family member, someone that always falls for this stuff, have them go back and watch this and learn the basics. I was trying to put something together that was kind of simple, not too long, that hopefully gives you some information just to think about things and look at things, because there's nothing worse than being scammed out of something that you worked hard for, when you think you actually won something. This hobby is fantastic. And there are a ton of legitimate winners who win big prizes every single day. I see it. It's been me. It's been our members. But there's an awful lot of scams, and there's way more than normal right now. So let me go through this, and I'll do my best to answer all these questions. Someone said, are text to wins easy for scammers to make up? Not overly, except, a lot of times if you sign up, if you're entering for things that, in my opinion, you probably really shouldn't be, that are selling your information, you may be getting those texts that say, hey, you won a $500 Best Buy card. Click here to claim. It ends up being like a survey that you jump through like 15 hoops and it ends at the end or something. So a lot of times you see that. Again, most of the time, the reason for these scammers doing it, there's usually a couple different reasons. One, they just want your personal information so that they can resell it. Two, they want access to your bank accounts, like a Chime or a Cash App, to steal money. Or the third reason actually is more on like Facebook, is they want you to like and comment and share their posts for one of two reasons. They're either going to go back and they're going to change the content, or they're going to then try and sell that page to someone else and say, hey, look, it has 100,000 likes. A page with 100,000 likes can gather a few dollars right now. And people ask, well, how is that possible? It would be no difference than if I decided I was going to sell the iWin Facebook page. So I sell it to Joe. Joe pays me X amount of dollars. I basically switch everything over to him and charge. And now it's his page. He can run it however he wants. He can put whatever content he wants in it. I don't plan on doing that, but that's how those type of pages work. I always comment an attempt. I write scam in the comments and I report them to Facebook. Yeah, that's a good point that I didn't mention. You can report these pages and it doesn't take very long. And normally they come down pretty quickly. With everything going on, it's been slower than normal. Let's see. So yeah, feel free to ask any questions. I'll try and scroll back through and see these. Somebody said, I would hope if I was unknowingly sharing a sweep that was not legit, someone would tell me. I kind of like the last person. I'll usually comment on it, fake or whatever, so the person knows. If that happens, just delete it. Unlike the page. Yeah, some of the ones are really, really bad. Never heard of Chime before? And you must not be a member, or you're not reading my newsletter, because Chime actually had a great sweep early in this year that gave away, I don't even remember how many $200. There was a few thousand $200 winners. That's why most of us have accounts. So if you're invited to like a page, That's actually usually not a bad thing. Like I can actually send out requests to like pages. And you see that a lot with small businesses or businesses that are running a sweepstakes and they want you to like their page. Now, again, the Facebook rules for running sweepstakes on Facebook is they don't want you to require someone to like your page to get an entry. So if you notice, like on all my sweepstakes, I don't have you have to like the page. I recommend it. It's easier for the sponsor to actually tag you and it'll come up. And there's times that like even if I can't tag someone, it won't let me actually tag them. So I put their name up there. And if nobody tags them or nobody tells this person, hey, you won, sometimes people miss things. So you always be careful of that. And, kind of hope thing. Like I think that's the one thing that most sweepers do really well is if I see a list of a couple names and I see one or two people on there that I recognize, I'll try and reach out to those people and I'll forward it and say, hey, look, check this out just in case to make sure they actually see it. Somebody mentioned Green Dot. Green Dot, yes, is very similar to Chime, Cash App, kind of the same type thing. They have the same issues. Somebody mentioned the website URL. So I wanted to keep this as basic as possible. And if you look in the URL for Facebook, for whatever company it is, a lot of times it's nothing like what they're trying to tell you the page is. Where most legitimate pages, it's going to be, it'll be Terra chips. But the fake page may be, just a bunch of letters. It could be something similar, but, you can check there too. But the checks I gave you are probably the most basic and the simple ways so that you don't get taken. And some of them got more sophisticated. They're going to get more sophisticated. The problem with Instagram and Twitter especially is all your posts have to be public. If you're entering sweepstakes, you have to be posting publicly. And so anyone can comment, anyone can get a hold of you. I'm going to give away for the blue shirt. So normally I have gray shirts, as most of you guys know. So we have gray shirts. You can order gray shirts. I have those available almost all the time, unless I run out of a certain size. But the colors, we did a special order earlier this year. And so if you're one of the people who have a color, it's because you actually ordered it. Once we're done with all this and we know another convention is scheduled and we're actually going to be able to attend, for sure, I'll do another order so that if you missed out on that, you'll be able to get those. And then, at that point, I'm sure I'll do some giveaways. But for me to go and order one blue shirt and ship it to you, the price would be literally ridiculous. So we'll do some giveaways once we have that ability again. Let's see what else we got. Let's go back to the newest questions. Where's Roscoe? Roscoe's sitting down here. I'll try and have him say hello. He just walked in my office and laid down. On Gleam Sweeps, they often say visit and like this page for an entry. Is that a wrong thing for them to do? No, because that's something that Gleam has. So Gleam has different. Gleam is again a platform that tracks all that. So if they're running the Gleam Sweep on Facebook and it says that, then technically yes, because it's a violation of Facebook guidelines. The reality, if you want to like it, go like it and enter. I mean, I have some people who will tell me they'll point that out to sponsors. They're not going to do anything. The reason why companies do those like, share, and tagging is because the analytics are so geared towards interaction. Just like even iWin's page. The more you interact, the more it shows up in your news feeds, And that goes for any business page. So that's why businesses want it. It even goes for personal pages. If you ever notice, like people who do referral sweeps, they they will give something away to their friends, to the people who enter off their links, which is very nice of them to do. But it has a big benefit to them too, because it all those commenting on those help you appear more frequently. So it works the same way. It's just an analytics. There's nothing wrong with it in that aspect. Getting a lot of see, I haven't had many PayPal scams, but again, there's in general there's a lot more than normal. Which t-shirt vendor do I prefer? So I don't use a national t-shirt vendor. I used to use one in Ohio that was local, that did all of our soccer team stuff. And I was just, personal friends with them. So they did all the winner shirts, or the ones that said I win, or the just win it. They did all those. Once I moved to Florida, there's same thing, a local company that Lee actually had ordered a bunch of stuff for her work and her company. So I was able to use the same company because they were just local, and it just made sense. It's hard to use a national company because shipping costs are so high. So you try and use local, and then I'll bundle them up and ship them out, myself. Yes, now the matching hat came from Queensboro, which is a national company. And I really, really like Queensboro. And again, just like I always say, I'm not an affiliate of any brand or company. But if I use something or I like it, I will say. And Queensboro, I actually like them. They are nationwide. They have done some of my polos. They've done hats. They used to do Under Armour hats, but Under Armour has very strict guidelines on like what logo can go on their hat. So it took like 2 months plus for me to get approval to get my one Under Armour hat I have that says I win contests. But I do have these are Nike hats, and they're easier to get. But I even think they've went away from Nike now, but I'm not positive. All right. Anything else to look for on Tor besides the blue verified checkpoint? The blue verify does a lot, but again, there's companies that aren't blue verified. So go through it, see if they've posted other things, or if this is like the only post they've ever had. If all else fails, ask someone that you trust. And again, you just got to find someone who really understands it, knows what they're doing. Hey, Roscoe, come here. You want to say hello? Come here. Come here, bud. Come here. There you are. Hi. Everyone would like to say hello to you. Do you have anything to say to add to this conversation besides that we woke you up from your nap? You've already had your lunch. If you would like to go for a little walk after this. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys joining me. Hopefully, this will help some of you guys. Again, I felt it was important to just put this out there as a public post, so you can share it. You can put it on your wall. Hopefully, it saves someone from getting scammed. There's nothing worse than that. And I always feel really, really bad when someone's too far in the process and they get a hold of me. I'm like, man, why didn't you 3 steps before this send me a quick message? I try and get back to people quickly. We have the Discord group now, so you can chat in there and you can usually get some pretty immediate response, which is great. It's another huge benefit. So other than that, you guys have a good night. Tomorrow, 9 o'clock Eastern, Steve Dadoff. If you don't know Steve, you're going to love Steve. He's got a ton of stories. The guy's won almost 3 hard trips. So he makes me look like I've won nothing, except I've won a car and he hasn't. So that's the only thing I got on Steve. But I am really, really excited to talk to him. I can't say enough good things about that interview tomorrow. Next Tuesday, 2 mystery guests. So we'll do one, it's going to be 8 o'clock the following week. And then I'm trying to set one up for the week after. I have a bunch of people lined up. Now it's just a matter of finding dates and everything. So you guys have a good rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully this helped, and hopefully this saved someone some headache later on. I will talk to you guys all soon.